Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to my initial reaction to Twin Peaks 2017, or Twin Peaks The Return, or whatever we decide to call it, I guess. Because they don't seem to, Showtime doesn't seem to, they say a return, but then other times they leave it out of the title altogether, and it's not even on the official title, so whatever. Twin Peaks 2017 is what I like to refer to it as. This episode is called Case Files, and I hope to God you've seen the episode. Please do not watch this if you have not seen the episode, because I'm going to be just spoiling this thing left, right, and center. I'm not going to go into like a lot of analytical discussion because I just saw the episode. So, I don't really have a lot of deep thoughts about wow, it sounded like Eddie Murphy just then in Beverly Hills Cop 2. But no, I just, I haven't had a lot of time to process this. This is just going to be me talking and rambling and then engaging with all you guys in the chat. So thank you very much for everybody watching live, and for everybody who's watching after the fact. I appreciate each and every one of you. First things off is guess who was right? Me. So happy about that. I never could understand why people would argue with me. People, in the comments, or people on the page, or people who used to be on this podcast would, tell me I was like full of crap and that there's no way that, Bob's in the doppelganger and the doppelganger is Mr. C. And Bob is somewhere else, and, all this stuff. And I was like, no, because if you go by the end of season 2, even though it's been 25 years later, the characters are pretty much where they used to be, or on a trajectory of where they were going to be. So obviously, Lucy, Andy, and Hawk are still at the sheriff's station, and Norma and Shelley are at the Double R, and there's just so many things that like are just the same, that for Bob to leave the doppelganger off screen. Now, that's not saying that Bob can't come in and out of them, but I've always maintained that the doppelganger got out of the lodge and Bob hitched a ride and, basically uses them as home base. That's why in the first episode, when they play that American Woman song, really, slowed down. And, I was like, that's Bob. I mean, that's just the voice slowed down. Then when doppelganger Cooper Bob got out of his car, and then he just smacked that guy with the gun and walked in the cabin and just sat down. It's like, hello, Otis. He sits like Bob. Obviously he's got the physical manifestations of Bob. He's got the skin. He's got the long hair, the clothes. But I had to have so many people just commenting to me going, dude, it's not Bob. Why do you keep saying doppelganger Bob? Doppelganger Bob. It's just Mr. C. Mr. C. And I'm like, Lynch and Frost are not doing that, guys. He's going to be Bob. And I was right. I only take pleasure in it because so many people told me I was off my rocker about it. And people are already on the Twin Peaks Worldwide Facebook page, screaming at me about it because I kind of was like, I was right. And now everyone's chiming in going, we didn't see the episode yet, don't tell us that. And I'm like, okay, one, not really a spoiler if you've seen the season 2 finale in 1991. And if you don't want to know anything about Twin Peaks 2017 episode 5, after it's officially aired, not streaming, officially aired on the channel, then don't go on Facebook, don't go on Twitter, don't go on Reddit, because there's going to be things everywhere about these episodes. It's just the world we live in. And I didn't think that what I posted was a spoiler. Sorry. I just always assumed it was inevitability that Bob is still in the doppelganger. And if you think that's a spoiler, then you are definitely a new Twin Peaks fan, because everybody I knew was just like, that really knew what they were talking about. Sorry, Eric. I just giving you a hard time, but come on, people. We knew Bob was inside the doppelganger. There was no other way it could be. So I'm glad that Lynch and Frost in episode 5 let us know the truth. So want to quote or misquote Mulholland Drive here. I sat down 5:45 getting ready for the episode. One second I'm sitting on the couch, and the next second I'm in some sort of dreamland, or a dream place, as Naomi Watts says. So Showtime, before the episode began, replayed episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, it's very interesting is I'm sure some of you guys have noticed this, but maybe some of you haven't. When episode 1 and 2 play together, the end credits during that song, for the last time, that that's the end credits start earlier than they do on the replay when the episodes are split apart, because they had to put the credits for episodes 1 and 2 at the end of that one big episode. But when it's broken up, they don't have to. So the credits at the end of episode 2 by itself start a little bit later than when it does as one big movie. And it's kind of a shame, because they found the perfect spot to bring in the starring Kyle MacLachlan credit at the end of the big 2 hour. But on the episode 2, I don't know. I wish it started where they started when it was one big episode, but they didn't. But I noticed at the end of episode 4 today, at the end it said in memory of Donis Davis and Miguel Ferrer. Now that credit was at the end of the episode 3 when it was a standalone, but when they combined 3 and 4, they now add that credit to the end of episode 4. So this is very confusing, everybody. I just wish they left episodes 1 and 2 together. I'm kind of bummed that they split them up. But anyway, it is what it is. But it is funny that when they're replaying these episodes and they're grouping them together as like 2 big episodes, they're changing the credits. And apparently, I haven't studied it too much, but apparently they're changing their whole Rancho Rosa opening logo with every episode. So it'd be cool if maybe some of you guys knew what they were changing with every single one of those. But yeah, this was a really interesting episode. I saw one of you in the comments saying not a lot happened, but there's a lot to discuss, and I firmly agree. So, okay, let's just go through some of my thoughts here. Obviously, it begins in Vegas. We get to see the Rancho Rosa, home community sign again, but notice how it was like perfectly lit. So you saw the 2 double R's. That was pretty cool. Then when the doctor was looking at the body that we presume was Major Briggs, although there are people coming to me saying no, they believe it's Dougie's body, because obviously the ring was there and that he somehow had Major Briggs' prints on him. So, maybe the doppelganger is using Major Briggs to, be the prints of several different bodies. Instead of wrapping the body up with plastic, maybe he's just framing everybody to be Major Briggs. I mean, because we are told later in the episode that Major Briggs' body or fingerprints or whatever has had 16 hits in 25 years. By the way, it was great to see Ernie Hudson again. And I have to say real quick, this episode was amazing of how many characters there were in this episode. And you really start to grasp how big this cast is. I mean, we've known it was a big cast, but I mean, like, this one was just bouncing from character to character to character. And, if you're not invested in the show, you're probably going to get lost, as a lot of people were, even when seasons 1 and 2 were happening back in early 1990, 91. So I did like the line that the doctor said about the headline. She was making kind of puns about the missing head. That was pretty funny. The ring belonged to Doug, and it obviously they brought in Janie, his wife, or presumably his wife, played by Naomi Watts, with the ring. Then we get Doppelganger, and he goes to the mirror, and Lynch really drives it home that Bob is inside the doppelganger. Obviously, we get the flashbacks to the season 2 finale in the Red Room, and then we get the beautiful kind of morph. They just did it so subtly. It was so perfect that if you didn't know what you were looking for, you might not have seen it, but it was there, and all the fans saw it. And then we cut to Mike Nelson, which was great to see him. At first, I didn't realize it was him. Then I was like, oh my God, it's scary. And he's there to, interviewing who becomes or we are to learn is Becky's boyfriend, who of course is Shelley's daughter, that she mentions in the first episode about her having problems with some guy. Then we go to the sheriff's station, and Frank is on the phone talking to Harry. So they keep bringing Harry into this. He's not dead. He's sick, right? And then, oh, that's great about the tests. And so I don't know. I'm thinking we're going to get that Michael Onking cameo in here. I know it's wishful thinking, but if he's not coming back, just why is he still alive? So I don't know. I just have a feeling he's going to show up, especially when Cooper comes back. Man, it's going to be awesome seeing Harry and Cooper together again. Then Candy Clark comes in, and we had seen her in a picture with Robert Forster. But I didn't realize they had maybe a scene together. I thought they were just posing together. And man, that was a cool scene. Yeah, I've been around girlfriends and wives like that with some people. That was a very true to life moment with Frank having to deal with her screaming about pipes and things like that, and about him just get a bigger bucket. Do you expect me to get a bigger bucket when I could be buying a rug? Okay, then we get Kyle back as Dougie, right? This was a very Dougie centric episode, which is great because people love Dougie. People loved him in the last episode, and so man, they doubled down and they gave us more Dougie in this episode, and he's adorably just aloof. He's just so funny. Anyway, Naomi Watts kind of takes him out. Janie is her name, and she takes Dougie out, and Sonny Jim, the little boy, gets in the car. And then there's that unexpected moment that I know all you guys are thinking about, where Kyle has that tear come down his eye. 1, that moment came out of nowhere. 2, wow, was that effective? It was beautiful. It was poetic. Why is he crying? There's probably a million reasons. Each one of us would probably be right, but I think we're all crying inside, want Cooper to return to form. And it was a beautiful, beautiful moment, and thought it was just wonderful. Then Dougie gets dropped off at his work, which is interesting that he works at an insurance company. He's an agent, and Cooper goes, agent, and we're like, yes, he's coming back slowly but surely. He's coming back. It's going to be such a payoff when he does, let me tell you guys. So he where is it? Off, I wrote down off in dreamland, Dougie. Maybe was that the guy in the elevator saying that to him? I think it was the assistant guy. And that was kind of interesting. They said off in dreamland because, of course, we've been talking about, like, is this place, a past, like Eric was thinking it was like 2003, which I think has pretty much been debunked at this point, but who knows? And then, or it could be an alternate reality, or maybe it's a dream world. Who knows? But again, it's the second time that we've gotten a reference to dreams in this time frame. We got the Dreamland here, and then the last episode, Naomi Watts calls him Mr. Dreamweaver. But I just want to point out, I got a comment here from Anonymous, no affiliation to this channel, but he does occasionally write me comments, and he said, I can't believe Dougie is an insurance agent because I found an interesting tie to the original series. When the medical equipment guy, Tim Pinkle Squiggy, comes in to show Bobby and Shelley Leo's equipment, they complain about the price, and he says, insurance doesn't pay out like the slots do. And then he says, they're definitely connecting things from the previous 2 seasons. I agree. That's a great comment. Thank you so much for sending that in. Lucky 7 insurance. We also have another quick realization that this is coming from Cause. Lynch is liking number 7 a lot. In Fire Walk with Me, Gordon Cole's office is on floor 7. Earlier in these episodes, something happened on floor 7. Dougie's office is on floor 7, and also Dougie's employer's Lucky 7 Insurance. It's very interesting. Okay, so let's continue on here. I I love the whole elevator stuff with Dougie when the coffee. He's just like coffee, and just the way he's just sipping it and walking through the hallways and stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. Then we get introduced to Tom Sizemore, who again is like, wow, these actors just kind of come in for a few minutes and just kick ass. Sizemore is an actor you don't want to mess with on screen or off screen. And obviously when Cooper Dougie said liar, that definitely set him off. And I thought we were going to get a replay of that jailhouse scene that he has with Mallory Knox in Natural Born Killers. I thought he was just going to beat the crap out of Dougie. But no, Dougie's boss just gives him a ton of paperwork and sends him off, which he doesn't get much further than that statue outside. It was quite funny, but Dougie's sitting there in the hallway, having to pee, continues to be hilarious. And then I really like all the little touches that Frost and Lynch are doing. They're not just having Dougie in the office and then that's kind of like what happens and that's it. I mean, they kind of have a little bit of moments here and there with the other coworkers, little offhand conversations. Obviously, that one guy's trying to cheat on his wife, or the other girl like offers herself to Dougie. So I like the fact that they're creating this world that's lived in. So maybe if this world's not real, it will definitely feel real because it's it's definitely lived in. I thought it was wonderful. Then we go back to Vegas and we are introduced to Robert Knepper and Jim Belushi. It's about time, guys. You guys have been doing the press tour for so long, and here you guys show up in episode 5, and they basically beat the crap out of that poor casino manager because Mr. Jackpot's Dougie Cooper, won all that money, $425,000, I think they said. But yeah, it was just really great. That was a wonderful touch with the showgirls or the little waitresses or whatever, like those 50s girls, like hanging out in the corner. It's very Lynch touch. You're definitely in Lynchian territory when you have cutaways like that. It was a great. We assumed that Belushi was going to have something to do with the Vegas scene and maybe mobster ties and stuff like that. So not quite sure who the guy that got promoted to be the manager. He was referring to, you don't want to be dealing with a guy like that in an earlier episode. Was he referring to Knepper, do you think, or Belushi? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. It's probably going to be Belushi because Knepper seemed to be the tough guy right now, but Belushi kind of like held back until he said, leave town to that manager guy that just got fired. Okay, then we come back to the little boy with the crack mom, and we kind of assumed we would come back to that, but we didn't know in what way. And so the little boy goes over to investigate the car, and I thought, oh my God, are we going to get like an Untouchables moment? We're going to blow up a kid here, Lynch? But no, he doesn't blow up. Instead, some car thieves show up to steal Dougie's car, and they blow up. And the little boy just kind of walks away. And I don't know. I think the car thieves like threw some rock at him or something like that too. And then anyway, the kid went across the street and went back in his house and looked out the window and watched the car burn. And it's just like, and watched the bodies burn too, apparently. So yeah, that was kind of an interesting touch. And then Jade comes back. Jade, the African-American prostitute from episode 3. And while she's getting her car cleaned, the washer guy finds Cooper's key from the Great Northern, room 315. And I just didn't put 2 and 2 together, because it says on the key, just drop in mail, we cover postage or something like that. And I saw that in episode 3, and I was like, okay, whatever. That's an interesting touch. And in this episode, Jade drops it in the mailbox. So I'm going to be curious to see what Ben Horn's, face is going to be like when he hears that Cooper's key's been returned after 25 years. Okay, then we go to the Double R, and we see Norma and Shelley. And then Becky comes in, her daughter. I don't know if they were trying to give us sort of a surprise that Becky was Shelley's daughter. I mean, because we all knew, because we obviously pay attention on the internet, but it seemed like Lynch was trying to fool us a little bit that who this girl was to Shelley, because Shelley had her back turned to us initially. But I was like, it's not really that big of a surprise if you're trying for that, Lynch. But It was a nice moment. Regardless, the sound was kind of drowned out a little bit. You could definitely tell it was a real location as opposed to a set. And then Becky goes to her car and she does cocaine with her boyfriend, who looks like he's gonna like keel over at any second. And then we get the just great Lynchy moment. And this is why it's so great that this is a TV series as opposed to another movie, because Lynch can indulge in these moments. So after she does the coke, again, cocaine very big in the world of Twin Peaks. It was big back when the show began, and it's still big now. And they turn on this like 50s, early 60s music. I've heard this song a million times, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. But it's a great moment. She's kind of lays her head back and just kind of smiles at the sky, and Lynch kind of holds on that for, I don't know, minute and a half or so. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment. And Amanda Seyfried, not bad on the eyes either. So that was wonderful. I can't wait to see what they do with her character. And then we get Dougie again in the elevator, and that's just really funny because he's facing the wrong way. And so it's just every scene with Dougie, more Dougie. Love it, love it, love it. When he goes back outside and looks at the statue, just want to throw this out to you guys. I noticed that there was a red balloon back there, which of course ties in with the crack mom and the little boy in episode 3, and also ties in episode 4 with Naomi Watts and Sonny Jim. Red balloon. So red balloons seem to be in a lot of places here. And then also there's a red chair in the background as well. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but there it is. Hawk and Andy going through the files. Andy wanting to know if there's, he hasn't found anything with Indians yet, apparently. And it's a quick scene. It's almost like, why is this scene in here? But it's just to kind of show you that they're still working on the case and stuff like that. Not that we've forgotten, but maybe some people would have. But it was a nice moment anyway to see them together again. Big revelation here, though. Dr. Jacoby is an extreme right-wing radio podcaster. That's hilarious. And if you notice, his flashlight he was using was like he had wings on it like an owl. That was kind of funny. When he was revealed to be this, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because if you know Mark Frost on Twitter, right? I mean, you know that he stands up to a lot of that kind of rhetoric. And so it's just kind of funny that they would take Jacoby in that way, but it fits too. And here we are talking for weeks and weeks and weeks about golden shovels and what is this going to have to do with Glastonbury Grove or Laura Palmer or what? Apparently he's just selling them so people can dig their way out of crap, apparently. So that's so funny that they dedicated like 2 whole scenes to this in previous episodes, if that's all the payoff is for it. I mean, it's like, wow, what tricksters Lynch and Frost are. You guys are just getting us good here. But then we get another cutaway while he's talking to Nadine. I don't know. Is she still Nadine Hurley? I don't know yet. Guess we'll find out. But that was surprising. Get 2 shots of her in here, and that was quite nice. But yeah, it was quite funny that when he takes the hammer and starts hitting the shovel and and it actually turns into sort of a commercial with the phone number and the address and stuff like that. It's pretty funny. But yeah, then the military gets word that Major Briggs is prints are coming back, and so they the FBI agent says to the woman, go to South Dakota, alert the FBI if it's real. It's not going to be real, but alert the FBI if it is real. And then we get a repeat of the foot shot. I think it's the same foot shot that we got at the end of episode 2 before we go into the Roadhouse. So I don't know. I'm going to have to compare those shots, but it seemed like to be the same shot. So it was interesting. And then we got the concert scene that seems to end every episode, although this episode did not end with that. But it seems like, okay, when that scene came on, I was a little bit worried, like, is the episode over already? Oh my goodness. But someone tipped me off earlier this week. I don't know how they knew, but they told me episode 5 would not end with a Roadhouse scene. So good on them for letting me know, but or being right, but please don't send any spoilers. And someone else earlier today posted something about episode 6, and I didn't even read it. I'm sorry, I had deleted it because I was like, oh no, I don't even want to be tempted with that. So, and or have anybody else see that. So if you know anything about future episodes, please don't message them. So they're so blatant. Okay, so anyway, we're at the Roadhouse, and there's this guy just chilling there smoking. I have no idea who this guy is. Some people in the comments were making jokes that maybe Frank Booth's son or Leo Johnson's son, who knows. But he is sitting there just smoking away, and the Roadhouse guy tells him to stop smoking, and then this other guy says, "I'll take care of it." And the smoking guy like seems to pay off this other guy. I don't know, or maybe they're dealing drugs. Maybe that's it. There's a wad of cash in the cigarette container, and that guy walks away. And then the guy smoking there seems like a young guy. It's kind of these girls kind of like start flirting with him, and so he asks one of them to come over, and because she wants a light. And then he like just grabs her by the throat, and he's just like, do you want to, basically, F me or whatever like that. And it's just so like, what the hell is going on? And this is happening in front of everybody dancing. And it's really interesting. Some people online, we were talking about this the other day because Hal was bringing up the fact that there was a lot of accusations against Lynch in terms of misogyny with these episodes. And then I was like, I haven't heard anything about this. And then I found an article about it. And people were discussing that on the page the other day. But here, I can see the accusations coming back. But again, I don't think it is, because I think they're trying to show you that this kind of crap, like sexual assault and that kind of thing, can happen just in front of everybody. And either people aren't aware, people aren't looking for it, or people are minding their own business. And this stuff is happening plain as day, right in front of people. I don't think that's misogyny to show that this kind of stuff happens. But it was a very scary scene. I was like, where is this going? And where it was going was a cutaway. So we have no idea what happened, but I'm sure we'll find out. We then cut to Tamara Preston. That's right. Our favorite has come back here. And she is looking at a picture of Agent Cooper. This is a picture actually taken when the FBI, I think Clarence William III and the Mountie, right when they come to interrogate him at the sheriff's station in season 2. It's a picture taken from that meeting. And I was like thinking, did they have a still photographer there? No, because it looks like a screenshot from the episode. But hey, all right, I'll deal with it. A lot of times I don't like that kind of stuff, but whatever, it's fun. And she's got the obviously the doppelganger Cooper's mugshot there, and she's looking at the prints. And I don't know. To me, it seemed like the doppelganger's prints were reversed from Cooper's, like Cooper's was going right, and then the doppelganger's going left. But even though he's supposed to be the same guy, right? Not just the mirror reflection of him, but it seemed like all the prints she was looking at were reversed from each other. So I don't know. It's interesting. Then we go back to the prison, and the doppelganger is going to make his call, or doppelganger Bob is going to make his call. And of course, the warden exits. Everybody exits, but the doppelganger Bob is on to everybody that they're all watching him, and he makes a reference that he's going to call a Mr. Strawberry. I don't know how Lynch does it, but he takes these names that are not scary and makes them scary. Mr. Strawberry reminded me of Mr. Reindeer in Wild at Heart. Yeah, scary stuff. And then he starts dialing all these numbers erratically. And then all of a sudden, all these flashes of lights and alarms start going off. And he's able to make a call without the warden and everybody hearing it. And what he says on the phone is, the cow jumped over the moon. That's going to be an interesting thing to talk about. And we then cut to Buenos Aires, Argentina. Reference to Fire Walk with Me, at least in the script, at least. And we see this box, and we saw this box earlier in the episode, but now we see the box again. It's black box, and it dings, and all of a sudden it like morphs into something, and I couldn't figure out what that is. I'm sure I'll figure it out in a later watch, but definitely interesting stuff there. Yeah, and then it cuts to Dougie at the statue, and we roll the credits. Very interesting, though. In these credits, David Patrick Kelly and Cheryl Lee were credited in this episode. And if you know that, like I said, like each episode only, credits everybody that's in that episode, unless they're doing the two episodes together, then they kind of, do both episodes together. But this one has David Patrick Kelly and Cheryl Lee in the credits. And they, as far as I know, they weren't in the episode. So I don't know why they're listed. Maybe you guys can tell me. Anyway, and then this episode is dedicated to Marv Rosand, who at this moment I didn't have time to look him up, but I don't know who that is. So if you guys know, all right, that would be great to know. So all right, now I'm going to the chat, and now we can discuss this. This is just my random initial thoughts, guys. So episode 5, Case Files. All right, the ball is in your court. Give me a second here and we are going to rock and roll. Thank you very much for joining. Really appreciate you guys taking your time. Okay. I need a website here. Oh, it says David Patrick Kelly was smoking weed watching Jacoby. You know what? I didn't even catch that. So thank you. Let's see. All right, you guys are just talking away in here. I see KM Charlie is saying he loves Krista Bell. She gets a bad rap. She actually was fine in this episode. She didn't have to really talk. So that's the joke. I mean, I don't mind her talking. It's just, at least in this episode, I saw maybe a spark of what Mark Frost was getting at in the book. In the other episodes, I haven't so far. So hopefully it'll be cool overall. Some people are still upset that there's not enough Angela Badalamenti in this show. I get it, but we're not even in Twin Peaks most of the time, so it is what it is. Let's see. What else you guys are talking about here? Yeah, William TPQ says, "Whoa, yeah, the Prince scene really bothered me. If they're backwards, that's amazing." That's what it seemed like to me when she was when she had both the prints up there. My wife was like, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "The prints are reversed." So, yeah. Chris Holland says it's subtle about the Badalamenti music but there is new music in there. Yeah, of course. But I think Alternative Nation, Brett's here in the comments. Thank you so much for being here, Brett. He writes, some hipster band is now going to name their next album "The Cow Jumped Over the Moon." Yeah, and they're going to have a black box on as the cover. So let's see. All right, let's get to down here. We got tons of people here. Thank you. We got 134 watching live. Thank you so much, guys. Adam Williams says Russ Tamlin's knocking out the new Jacoby. Brilliant. Yeah, totally. Leonard says we're still in the first act of this new story. Scary, isn't it? Let's see. Amateur Video Scholar says 18 hours is a lot to score. Yeah. Mr. Smet says Cheryl Lee's image in the very beginning might be the credit. Well, then she'd be credited in every episode, and she's not. So I don't know. I was like thinking, well, maybe it was like the Red Room thing from season 2, but it's not. That was just Kyle and Frank in that scene. So, okay. Cause says, Cam, you missed that it was Deputy Chad who was given the cigarette pack full of money by the smoking guy, whose last name is Horn in the credits. Really? See, this is what I'm talking about. This is just the first time watch, guys. I didn't know there's so many characters in this thing. I was just like, I sometimes I don't know who's who, and then I go back and rewatch it and I go, oh yeah, okay, that's who it is. Let's see here. Ian Hoare says Christabel is shit even when she has no dialogue. Woo, man, we got some hate in here. Let's see. 4021971 says her performance is wooden. Drake says, yeah, you can barely make out David Patrick Kelly out in that dim lighting. Okay, see. Oh, you know what? Was that him? That was him sitting like on the... I didn't even know it was him. Seriously. I was like, I thought it was just like some dude that was like homeless guy living in the woods. That's David Patrick Kelly. Oh my goodness. Can they just get rid of that beard, please? Dari Dane says Marv Roseanne was the double R cook. That I think he's in the Becky scene. Okay. That makes sense. Soul Pursuit says, I'm confused. Does this mean that for sure they ran Major Briggs, Prince, and Buckhorn? Yes, because that's where the Prince came from. Mark says, according to the credits, Eamon Farron is Richard Horn, the threatening, sexually violent character choking Charlotte in the Roadhouse. Oh my goodness. If that is Audrey's kid. Whew. Amateur Video Scholar says, Argentina and a surprise David Bowie appearance. I thought that's where we were going. I thought, oh my goodness, are we gonna get the cameo tonight? If that happens? I don't know. I mean, there's no confirmed cameo, but I thought maybe we were gonna get one. And I was gonna go, oh my, what a payoff for episode 5 that would have been. Yeah, Undeclared Nation says, we need Audrey, all in caps, man. He needs some Sherilyn Fenn right now. Let's see. Thomas Karnacki says Cheryl Lee's in the opening titles. But yeah, but she's not credited in every episode. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Pierre Otero says he wants the Dr. Jacoby podcast for real. Man, there's a lot of them on YouTube. Go, come on. All that Alex Jones and all that stuff. That's what they're totally spoofing. Let's see here. Matthew says if Cole was listening to that call, he would have passed out. Oh yeah, totally. Dirty Boy Santa God says the end credits is Johnny Jewel. It's on the album Windswept. Okay, good to know. Good to know, guys. Hey, do you guys know anything about the the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer that they did the audio? I can only find it on like an Audible thing. Do you know if they're going to release a hard copy of that? Because I would like to get that. Let's see here. All right, let's go down a little bit here. James Gundry says Becky's a goner. I don't know about that. You think she's going to die in this season? Probably, huh? I don't know how, but probably. Let's see. Luba says, I liked how Cooper is getting back to his feelings, looking at the man with a gun, reacting to specific words such as agent, case files. Really cool, and keeps you tension that he might remember himself. Oh yeah. Oh, you know that moment's gonna just happen when it does. We're just gonna be like, yes, Cooper's back. I was on Facebook the other day, and one guy was writing there that goes, it doesn't matter how crappy my day goes today, Cooper is out of the Black Lodge. And I was like, yes, that's great. Let's see. William TPQ says, I can see myself writing a song about Twin Peaks, kind of like Gordon Cole writing an epic poem about cherry pie. But I don't get how artists can base their whole thing on Twin Peaks. Gotcha. KM Charlie says 75 says Coop more back than ever. Sizemore was lying. Sizemore is always lying in every movie. Let's see. Myth Plays Game says pretty sure that Bad Coop studied the layout of the jail and hacked it with electricity lodge powers. Go back to episode 2. After he kills Daria, he opens up his computer and downloads the schematics for that prison, because he needs to get in there to kill Ray, who obviously got in touch with presumably Betty Briggs or someone of that nature that has the coordinates for whatever he needs. So he's in the prison. He needs to maneuver through it and get to Ray. And so he downloaded the plans in episode 2. Okay. Pierre Terre says, is Deputy Chad the new Deputy Cliff? I don't know. Maybe he'll kill Bobby Briggs. I hope none of the new guys or old guys die, but it's going to happen. SPF 50 says, I think Audrey will be a mess and probably disfigured. Well, we've already seen her with no arms and no legs in Boxing Helena, so anything's better. Let's see. Oh, some people say, yeah, it might not be Audrey's kid. It might be Jerry's son. Well, that would be a plot twist. Amateur Video Scholar says time travel trip with evil guy at the Roadhouse. Origin of Bob, long shot. Yeah. Yeah. Felicia W. confirms that Marv Roseanne died in 2015 and he was the Double R cook. All right. That's super sad, but I'm glad that he was able to be in this. But it is kind of sad that almost every episode's ending with in memory of, but that's what happens when you film a show over, takes place over 25 years plus. Let's see. Rosenfield 10 says the face reveal of Bob and Mr. C's reflection was an incredible effect. It was so incredible that like a lot of people didn't even notice it. So much so that people are complaining online that I even mentioned it, even though the episode officially aired, but whatever. I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't think that was that big of a plot twist. Like, oh my God, how dare you tell me that Bob is inside the doppelganger? Because he wasn't in the doppelganger at the end of season 2 in 1991, guys. Come on. Anyway, those are not real hardcore fans. You guys are the hardcore of the hardcore. Let me tell you, you guys are the best. Chris Holland Music says the way doppelganger Cooper stared into the camera when he was sitting in front of the phone, chilling. Oh yeah, it was. Reminded me of Coop looking into the security monitor in Fire Walk with Me. Oh, I'm going to say it was much, much better because at least in this, we knew that Kyle MacLachlan wanted to be on set. Okay. Fire Walk with Me, he didn't really want to be there. So he just kind of like did his thing and moseyed out to his trailer, probably to hang out with Christy Turlington. But in this episode, you could tell, man, Kyle's so focused. He's so attentive. If he doesn't win a bunch of awards this year, or whenever they do the next award show for TV, I mean, I think, come on, I think it's just, how is he not going to just sweep everything? It's an amazing performances. He's got 3 characters so far. JB says, did you notice the flash of light on Sizemore's face just before Dougie called him a liar? No, but I will be looking for that on the second watch. Thank you. Drake says, did Toad lose weight? Because that Toad is one skinny dude. I don't think that was Toad. If it was that supposed to be Toad, Marv Roseanne? I don't think so. Let's see. Alternative Nation says, maybe Bob Cooper slept with Audrey right before leaving town, and that is Richard. Brett, what are you doing to me, man? You trying to give me nightmares? That's some scary stuff right there. Don't be going there unless you mean it. I'm telling you, if Doppelganger Bob had a one-night stand with Audrey Horne, and that is the product of it, I'm telling you that would be intense. And I agree with some of you saying there's no way to predict what's going to happen in the next episodes. I mean, there's no way. I mean, because if you watch the first 4 episodes, you're not going to predict that you're going to, see what we saw tonight's episode. I mean, it's just, this show is amazing. Sorry, I'm not trying to just, toot its own horn, every time there's an episode, but the show is just astounding. Amateur Video Scholar says the world would explode if Bowie showed up. Yes, they would. KM Charlie says, yeah, when I went to Argentina, I thought Jeffries was going to show up. I did too. Let's see. Plays Game says Audrey did have a brother, remember? Yes, but I don't think Johnny Horn in his little Native American suit was out there procreating, but who knows? Maybe he was. Jamie Michelle says, I die in capital letters if David Bowie showed up. Don't die. We need you here. We got, 13 more episodes to go? Come on. We need you here, Jamie. William TBQ says, maybe there isn't a buildup for Harry and they're just trying to acknowledge him and show that they remember he exists. Yeah, but they're mentioning him quite a bit. They could have just mentioned him like at the beginning and then maybe towards the end, but they kind of keep bringing him up. So SPF 50 says, yeah, that guy in the Roadhouse reminded me of Bobby Peru, just like the country. Amateur Video Scholar says Frank Silva is in the credits as Bob. No Bob recast. Well, Frank Silva's in there because they did the they showed the scene from season 2 of the doppelganger and Bob in the Red Room. So let's see where we are here. Sorry, it's going a little. The chat just kind of stop starts. Let's see here. Top Matthew Lombardo says, even if Bowie's not in it, at least his character has been a part of this. No, I totally agree. I'm getting antsy because I keep thinking he's going to show up. And because the moment I say he's not going to show up, he's going to show up. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. But, just saying that would be one of the biggest drop mics of the internet would just blow up. I mean, you talk about blowing up the internet. That would do it. See, Watergate Burglar says could totally be Harry knew Diane. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Myth plays game says, how did Jacoby go from such a groovy dude to the ranting dude? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Mark Frost's book coming out. What's it called? The Secret Dossier of Twin Peaks. Comes out in October. Can't wait to read it. Oh, Evan Trainer says Secret Diary of Laura Palmer is an Audible exclusive. Darn. Well, maybe I'll get it eventually, but I can see them putting it out. I mean, we're going to get 2 soundtracks for this show, for goodness sake. So I can see them putting it out. SPF 50 says, is he Richard, as in Richard Horn, of Richard and Linda? By the way, Richard and Linda are my parents' names, and that spooked me because, David Lynch and Mark Frost are reading your emails, SPF 50. That's how they know this. All right, Philip Acker. What did Brett say? Oh, yeah, about that being the product of Audrey and Bob. Yeah, good job, Brett. Now you're scaring all of us. Let's see. Drake Avila says, I felt this episode was a potpourri of Wild at Heart, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and lots of winks to the TV Twin Peaks of the 90s. Well, yeah. Yeah, definitely. KM Charlie says, Becky is the new Laura Palmer. Yeah, but Amanda Seyfried already was Laura Palmer in the first season of Veronica Mars. Obviously, she wasn't Laura Palmer, but she definitely played a Laura Palmer character that Veronica Mars was trying to solve the murder case of. Niall says, hey, Cameron, if you sign up, you can get a free Audible book. Okay, cool. Then maybe that's how I'll get it. William TPQ says, what if Becky is Bob? All right. It's a little far-fetched, but you never know with this show, with this season especially. Yeah, Mark says, what about this weird little box in a building in Buenos Aires? It beeps and blinks and then magically melts into a little ball. I don't get it myself. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe on a rewatch it will, but let's see. Ian Hoare says, well, that was a nice transition to Frank Silva's Bob, but let's leave it there. Yeah, we don't, even in season 2, after Leland, was shown to be Bob, it seemed when they did it for, 1 to 2 more episodes, it was like, okay, we get it. Bob's in the mirror, and they did quite a few like mirror Bob shots, and so kind of old, like right away. So yeah, I agree. I don't want them to do it all the time. Let's see here. Dire Wolf says, watch this season be clueless Dougie for the entire season. I don't want that, but I can't. I mean, I was shocked that they ended the episode with Dougie get the statue, and then the credits go rolling up. It was hilarious though. Quaven W says, did Cheryl Lee play one of the 3 women that were watching the casino manager get beat up? I'll have to rewatch. Maybe Lynch stuck her in there. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think so. I can usually spot Cheryl Lee pretty quick. Drake says, I find it funny the band Trouble playing at the Roadhouse, or he's making a joke here, the Bang Bang Bar. For those of you who don't know, there's a lot of like Twin Peaks posers that are writing articles about the new Twin Peaks, and they keep referring to the place as the Bang Bang Bar. And, we're kind of just having fun and ridiculing them on here because it's the Roadhouse, damn it. It's the Roadhouse. It's never been called the Bang Bang Bar. Anyway, says, I think Lynch's son is the drummer. Okay, well, that makes sense then. KM Charlie says, exactly, Sizemore is a liar. He's always a liar, man. He was in Heidi Fleiss's little book, for darn's sake. So, and David Lynch produced that documentary on Heidi Fleiss, Hollywood Madam, the Nick Broomfield film. Ooh, connections. All right. Yeah. Dari Dane says Amanda Seyfried did great in the car scene. She did. It was a beautiful moment. I think the camera just held on her too, so it was wonderful. I think she's coming back from Mamma Mia too, though. So let's hold off on the praise right away. Just kidding. Watergate Burglar says possible Richard and Linda 430 is the code Ray has. Maybe. William TPQ believes that some of the old characters will die. Probably. I don't know. Do we think Mike and Nadine are going to get back together again? Man. Chris Holland says Amanda Seyfried is great. Great casting for Shelley's daughter. Yeah, definitely. Works really well. Let's see. Mark says, yeah, definitely Dougie calling out the lie at the assurance meeting. That was out of the blue. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Watergate Burglar says, don't think it's time travel. Band and the people in bar too modern. Yeah, but I'm under the impression though that Lynch just shot like just a ton of like dancing people like over like 1 or 2 nights, and then had different bands come in and out, and they just shot a bunch of music, and then they decided like in post-production like what songs were going to end like what episodes and stuff, except for maybe the one the one that ended episode 2. I think that was purposely placed, but the other ones just seem to be like just thrown in there that whichever one fits that episode correctly. So let's see here. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to. Okay. Let's see. Leonard says Cooper's luck definitely goes beyond the casino. People not freaking out over his mental state, the green flashing light on Sizemore, etc. There's something protecting him, definitely. Let's see. Myth Plays Games says the thing that made me think that this might not be in 2017 is the lady who was worried that the hitmen were screwing up had a BlackBerry. Who still uses those? Yeah, true. And also, I keep going back to the fact that the casino was giving out quarters, and the fact that come on, those of you who gamble, you can't put 1 quarter in and win the jackpot. I mean, obviously he had like maybe supernatural powers or the gift or whatever like that, but no, when you put in 1 quarter, you can only win 1 line. To win the whole thing, you have to play the max bet. So anyway, that's just, I'm being finicky because I think no matter what, Dougie Cooper or whatever would have just won everything regardless. So when he did, 425,000. Let's see. Yeah, everyone's saying, what's up with the BlackBerry? Yeah, nobody uses BlackBerries. I had a BlackBerry. Yeah, it didn't last too long. Alternative Nation says Frank Truman is using an iPhone. That's interesting. And the FBI is using a Mac laptop. And the who was it? I'm trying to think. Somebody was using like earlier episode. Was it the back of the sheriff station? They were using. No, somebody was using a Dell computer, and somebody else was using like something else. And earlier, I can't remember off the top of my head, but Lewis says, what happened to the receiver that Mr. C, the doppelganger, called? What did it turn into? I have no idea. Dirty Boy Saint of God says, that's what I was thinking. How the hell could people not know that Bob was in Coop if they watched the last episode of season 2 all those years ago? Because people don't pay attention. Yeah, let's see. William TBQ says Kyle deserves every acting award ever for this. We're only 5 episodes in, and he's already sweeping the awards. I'm telling you, if he doesn't win, it's going to be a travesty, and Twin Peaks fans are going to riot. We're going to take it to the streets. Hal Brandt says they did call him Toad. Wow. Okay. Good to know. So that was Toad. The one that Marv Roseanne that died If is that him, Hal, who you're talking about? Amateur Video Scholar says, "Hope. How the hell do the Owl Cave rings work now anyway?" Your guess is as good as ours, because the Owl Cave ring was introduced until Fire Walk with Me, and we didn't get much, context for it. It was just like, "Don't take the ring, Laura. Don't take the ring." And then she took the ring, and now here we are, and Dougie had an Owl Cave ring. So, and now it's back on the table, apparently, in the red room. William TPQ says, "I'm doing my second watch right after this." Yes. And I think tomorrow we'll do the watch along. I think that would probably be the best bet. Let's do the watch along tomorrow. Maybe the same time, 7:00 p.m. Pacific time. Probably be fun. I'll set it up. If you guys want to join me, that'd be awesome. Let's see. Cause says, "Really, you missed the green flash?" Listen. When they were talking, I was every once in a while I looked down and was eating some ravioli. So forgive me if I missed the green flash. I'll see it on my second watch. But thank you everybody for pointing it out. Mark says, "That actually sounds like a good idea. Doppelganger Bob knocked up Audrey. The product, psycho rapist murderer, Richard Horn. Oh lordy, you guys are just gonna send me to bed like with just terrible dreams at night." KM Charlie says, "Tonight was off the hook, Cameron. You're right. Definitely." Let's see here. Sorry, guys. The chat sometimes goes so fast, and then sorry, I'm trying not to have any dead air, but you guys are writing some great comments, and I'm trying to comment on most of them, but where... Let's see here. It just keeps going and going. You guys are writing a ton of stuff. Okay, here we go. Yeah, everyone's confirming it's called Toad. Great. Let's see here. Cause says, "Speaking of credits, I'm just going to reaffirm now that the credits still state Nadine is still Nadine Hurley. Fantastic. But not fantastic for Norma Jennings, if that's still her last name. I didn't get to see that. SPF says, "The way Richard pulls the girl in is so bad, Coop." Man, you guys are seeing a lot of stuff. I was just sitting there like, oh, what the hell's going on here? Jamie again reiterates she's going to faint if Bowie shows up. Okay. SPF 50 says he's flicking ashes instead of matches. Interesting. Now that's the name of a hipster band right there. Flicking ashes instead of matches, or just flicking ashes. That'd be good. Williams thinks there's going to be other Bob recasts. Okay, I don't know. Let's see. KM Charlie says, "You guys think Mr. Earl or Wyndham Earl comes into play?" I'm sticking to it. I think that's who was speaking with Mr. C in the hotel. I don't know. Like I said, if it does happen, I will be screaming through this house like Cousin Dell in Wild at Heart. I will just be going crazy because I love the character Wyndham Earl, and I would love to, even though he got his soul ripped out of him, I would like to see at least a mention. I mean, they're mentioning Philip Jeffries, for goodness sake. He was only in 1 minute of Fire Walk with Me. Can we just get a little bit of Kenneth Welsh? Come on, people. Let's get some Wyndham Earl action going on here, or at least a mention. Let's mention him at least. Anyway, you guys really like Dr. Jacoby as the ranting guy. Dude, Rustin Tamlin is just awesome, right? Let's see. Do we think that Nadine and Big Ed are still together? Well, they just said that her last name's Hurley, and chances are, they're not going to be separated in Twin Peaks. It's kind of a small town to be doing that kind of nonsense. Amateur Video says, "Is Coop with the giant at the beginning supposed to be the White Lodge?" Some people are saying there's a Gray Lodge. I don't know if that's true. And some people are thinking that is going to come in later in the series. Like maybe Coop, in order to come back to Twin Peaks, has to go back through the machine, which means he'd have to go through the lodges again. Oh, hopefully it doesn't get stuck there again. And then Yeah, and then maybe he gets stuck with the giant in the gray room, and then maybe the beginning is a future, is a past? Who knows? William T. PQ says this sounds insanely unlikely, but I think it's Albert on the phone with Mr. C. Interesting. We do know they've had contact together. Taken Time Lord says Lynch, and presumably Frost as well, was blasting fake patriots who shovel and sell. Yeah, well, they definitely had a target with that one. Naros Delta says, yeah, that doppelganger phone call was amazing. Yes, it was. 402 1971 says maybe that horn kid will end up killing Becky. Whoo, man, so much violence in all you guys. I'm just kidding. James Goodry says Dr. Jacoby is going to preach the psycho out of Nadine. She's going to go postal. Leonard says you can't replace Laura with a Becky. Yeah. Myth says the scene with Sheriff Frank and the wife was very David Lynch. It's also very much reality if you hang out with enough married couples. Let's see. Brett says Nadine's going to hit Big Ed with one of those gold shit shuffles the next time she catches him with Norma. Yeah, maybe that's why she's going to buy one, huh? Direwolf says every frame of this is very David Lynch. Oh, yeah, it is. Mariah doesn't think that Becky's Bob. He thinks that Becky is actually Taylor Swift. At least she's not confirmed in the cast list, I'm telling you. Thomas Kornacki says he thinks the statue that Cooper is fixated on resembles Harry Truman. Cool. That would be awesome. SPF 50 says, I hope Becky doesn't monopolize the plot. I don't think she would. I mean, they're bringing her in episode 5. I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Jared Hall says David Lynch loves to have girls watching fights. It's in a lot of his movies. Yeah. Drake says, I'm starting to feel Mark Frost and his sensibility in his episode 2. I have felt Mark Frost through this whole thing, but this was definitely like a Frost. There were like a lot of touches that that he threw in there. That whole thing with Jacoby, that's definitely Mark Frost's idea. 402 says, I guess Wally Brando is only going to be in one episode. Maybe not. We don't know yet. But I mean, the internet seems to just blow up about Wally Brando. Man, they just went crazy for him. So if he's only in one episode, I mean, like I saw one article today that said, here are 5 reasons why Wally Brando rescued the new Twin Peaks. like we needed Michael Cera to rescue us from Lynch and Kyle MacLachlan. All right, guys, whatever. Amateur Video says they haven't recast anyone except Michael J. Anderson. Hey, they didn't recast Michael J. Anderson, okay? They made him a tree. Let's get it right. Let's see. Leonard says the warden's sick, perverted online persona is Mr. Strawberry. Nice. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty awesome. Dirty Boy Sing to God. Slang for strawberry. A prostitute. Huh. Interesting. I don't know how you know that, but thank you for sharing. Chris Holland says the series ends with Dougie finally learning to go to the toilet when he has to pee. Oh, wouldn't that be sweet? All right. Yeah. Cause thinks Mr. Strawberry means something for the warden as well. Yeah, of course. I mean, look at his face. He was peeing himself. Let's see here. Let's take a few more here before we go. Brett from Alternative Nation says Kyle MacLachlan should accept any award he gets as in character as Dougie. He just grabs the award. Thank you. Let's see here. All right, guys. SPF's 50 says BlackBerry's used in many corporate jobs. Still? I know they did back in like 2005, 2006, but still? I don't know about that. William TPQ says he's gay for Kyle MacLachlan. I think we all kind of are a little bit, right? For Kyle, come on. Watergate Burglar says Mike Nelson had a PC. Yeah. Amateur Video Scholar says Dougie's license plate tag says 03. Did I see that wrong? I think a lot of people, especially we had a nice close up of it tonight. I think the 3. Everyone keeps saying that the 3 in is stands for March, not 03 like the year. So I think that's what people are referring to that 3 is for. Dirty Boy didn't know that he gets receipts when you go into casinos now. Well, you do. Victor Ha, thank you for joining us. He says, I don't have Showtime, but they gave the first 2 episodes for free on YouTube. They rocked, as good as the best episodes of the original seasons. Well, it's wonderful to have you joining us on this show. Just remember, those episodes were edited for content. So when the Blu-ray comes out, pick it up. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, Voltaire confirms. Google Nevada plates images 3 is the month. Rosenfield 10 says Sunny Jim was pretty sad. Very big difference from part 4. Jorbs 150 says, I just watched the episode. I'm going to have to rewatch it. We're all going to have to rewatch it. Alan Duran, he's referring to Amanda Seyfried and Veronica Mars. Yes, she was great on that show, even though she was dead. She did come back as a like ghost, and not as a ghost, but flashback stuff, and would come back in Veronica's mind and talk to her and stuff. So not a ghost, but you know what I mean. Mark Larquette says, real talk, do you think Dr. Jacoby was having sex with Laura Palmer? Oh yeah, of course, that's confirmed. I mean, that's in her diary, and that's confirmed in the show. KM Charlie says, no, Robert Forster rescued Twin Peaks from Michael Cera. I gotta say, the Michael Cera scene, I really like it, but the more I see it, the more essential you realize that Robert Forster's reactions are the reason why that scene works so well. Amateur Video Scholar says, I think the show will end with Becky and Wally Brando falling in love and riding off into the sunset. Well, we all know Lynch is a romantic, so you never know. But yeah. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it. I was trying to read William's comment here. The editing almost made certain parts scarier, but I couldn't sit through it. It was just checking when they edited before I sent it to a girl in Romania. What on earth are you talking about? I have no idea. Come on, guys. Give me... Oh, God. Okay, we're going to end with this comment. Voltaire, you got it. He writes, Laura was the town bicycle. Everybody got a ride. There you go. All right, guys. So tomorrow we will do the watch along. We'll do it, let's say 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I will set that up and we will go from there. And thank you guys for watching. This is just kind of an initial reaction, and always great to have you guys here. It's not really, an episode dissection per se, but just kind of us all, blah, wasn't this episode awesome? And we're all freaking out about it. And yeah, I agree. Not a lot happened in this episode, but a lot happened in this episode. So yeah, there you guys go. Thank you so much for joining me. Always appreciate it. Make sure to like these videos and subscribe to the channel and share them, and tell everybody that if you know anybody who likes Twin Peaks, to subscribe to this channel, because it'd be really great to bring more and more people to this party, and let's have some fun. Let's rock it. Let's Ronnie rock it, damn it. All right, guys, so you take it easy, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody, and enjoy episode 5 on your second watch. Bye.